Hi there and welcome to this week's edition of The Wrap. Joburg Pride is happening this week, but is it truly inclusive? Speaking of inclusivity, John Steenhuisen is working hard to ensure conservative YouTubers are comfortably employed in his department. He's also had some words for Cyril Ramaphosa, who is in Russia for the BRICS Summit. On the home front, South Africans are heartbroken over Siya and Rachel Kolisi's split. In Tshwane, the EFF is trying to cancel the deal with Afriforum, and a new survey reveals Gauteng residents are not too happy but are staying put. Oh, and Idris Elba is moving to Africa to revamp the movie industry, while Mother Nature, on the other hand, is busy interrupting matric exams in Gqeberha. So let's dive into your weekly update of empowering and easy to understand news, brought to you by myself, Verashni Pillay, and the Explained Akosa team. First up, our take. Pot Meat Kettle. DA lead and Agricultural Minister John Steenhuisen has raised eyebrows with his latest appointment, conservative YouTuber Siya and Rachel, aka Big Daddy Liberty, who is his new outreach officer. Gqeberha is also a farmer and vocal activist against farm murders, which aligns him with certain sectors of the agricultural community. He previously served as a spokesperson in the Western Cape Department of Social Development and has an honours degree in industrial and organizational psychology. However, Steenhuisen handpicking another social media influencer instead of recruiting the best person for the job has raised eyebrows. Just 2 months ago, Steenhuisen hired Roman Gqeberha, another YouTuber, as his chief of staff. However, after backlash over offensive remarks made on his podcast, Morning Shot, Steenhuisen was forced to ask Gqeberha to resign. Gqeberha, however, is still lingering around while HR tries to remove him. Steenhuisen's latest hire suggests an affinity for bro culture, a trend prioritizing personality, social media clout, and political theatrics over substance. It's reminiscent of Trump-era politics in the US, where governance became more about who you know than what you know. By placing individuals like Gqeberha and Gqeberha in positions of power, Steenhuisen risks embracing this superficial brand of politics. Critics also accuse the DA of hypocrisy. The party has long slammed the ANC for cadre deployment, the practice of appointing loyalists to key positions, often without the necessary qualifications and experience. In early October, it was revealed that Steenhuisen had asked for exemptions from qualification requirements for 4 staff members, including former DA MP Annette Steyn, who holds only a matric certificate. The request was denied. 2 ANC ministers were also denied similar requests. One glaring example of how missing qualifications can go wrong is the case of former ANC-backed Johannesburg Mayor Gqeberha, who was exposed for only having a grade 10 instead of a diploma in business. His tenure was marred by serious allegations of fraud and deception, culminating in his arrest on Friday for a funeral insurance scheme that he allegedly ran between 2011 and 2012. Ultimately, cadre deployment weakens institutions by placing loyalty over competence, and it's wrong whichever party does it. Moving on to your big story, we were all stunned this week by the news that Springboks captain Siya and Rachel Kolisi, one of the country's most beloved couple, are divorcing. The couple shared on Instagram that they had mutually decided to end their marriage, noting that the decision comes from a place of, quote, love, respect and understanding, close quote, and that they remain committed to raising their 4 children. Nicholas Yamtanda and Kezia, along with Siya's younger siblings, Liema and Lipelo, whom they adopted following his mother's death. The Kolisi's love story has been a fan favorite ever since they met in 2012. In true Siya style, he proposed during an unforgettable helicopter ride over Cape Town, and the couple tied the knot in 2016 with a beautiful French hook wedding. Together, they navigated the highs and lows of life in the public eye, raising their family while Siya took on the captaincy of the Springboks, becoming a global icon. But Rachel has often spoken about the pressures of being married to such a high-profile figure. In one incident, she called out a woman for publicly flirting with Siya on social media, firing back at one woman who said Siya was her type. Rachel responded, Siya is not a type. He's a married man responsible for 4 children. She fiercely defended her family, enduring racial abuse and constant public scrutiny. Despite these challenges, the couple always seemed to emerge stronger, which made their divorce announcement even more heartbreaking for fans. Social media was ablaze with reactions. Businesswoman Farah Fortune hilariously captured the nation's mood in a popular tweet. Guys, do you think we as a country can contest the divorce purely on the grounds that we don't want it? I'm just asking. For many, the Kolisis were more than just a couple. They represented South African Ubuntu, family, and resilience. Their split feels personal to those who have followed their journey. As they navigate this next chapter, South Africa stands behind them, heartbroken but supportive. Moving on to some international news, President Cyril Ramaphosa spent last week in Kazan, Russia for the 2024 BRICS Summit. If you're guessing that's controversial timing given the war in the Ukraine, you're right. BRICS, initially formed by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, was designed to challenge the dominance of wealthier nations in North America and Europe. The bloc now represents 43% of the world's population and contributes about 35% to global GDP. Last year, BRICS expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, solidifying its clout, particularly as it now controls 44% of the world's crude oil production, thanks to the addition of the Arab countries. South Africa's involvement in the summit has not been without controversy. During a bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin ahead of the summit, Ramaphosa referred to Russia as a valued ally, citing the country's support during South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle. For those who are pro-democracy, it's a slap in the face, given Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Opposition leader Steenhuisen slammed Ramaphosa's comments, labeling Russia an authoritarian regime that violates international law. A key summit topic was the move towards de-dollarization, with Putin urging an alternative payment system to reduce global reliance on the US dollar. He argued that the dollar was a political weapon. However, this push is seen by many as a response to the sanctions imposed on Russia following its invasion of Ukraine, sanctions aimed at curbing Russia's military and economic strength. Brazil and India remain wary of BRICS becoming too anti-Western or pro-China or pro-Russia, highlighting the delicate balance that South Africa, as part of the bloc, must maintain. Ramaphosa's challenge, ensuring South Africa positions itself in such a way that benefits the economy without becoming entangled in global power struggles. October was Pride Month, and as South Africa wraps up the month, Joburg Pride, Africa's largest LGBTQIA celebration, is about to turn 34. And yes, that's older than the country's democracy itself. The event is due to be held in Sandton on Saturday and will be a joyful occasion for many, but it also highlights deep divisions within the local community. Despite South Africa's progressive constitution, we're the first country to outlaw discrimination based on sexual orientation in 1996 and the fifth at legalizing same-sex marriage in 2006. Despite all of that, however, the lived experience of LGBTQIA people remains vastly unequal. A quick recap. In the 1980s, South Africa's gay community and its activism was split. The Gay Association of South Africa, or GASA, founded in 1982, refused to oppose apartheid, leading to its expulsion from the International Gay and Lesbian Association. In response, black activists like Simon Nkoli and Beverly Ditsey formed GLOW in 1998 and organized Joburg Pride's first march on 13th October 1990, where many participants wore masks to avoid being identified under apartheid, which still criminalized being gay. Nkoli famously declared, "I am black and I am gay. I cannot separate the two parts of me." In the years since, Joburg Pride has been accused of pinkwashing, where LGBTQI rights are promoted while ignoring deeper systemic inequalities. In 2012, activists from the 1 in 9 campaign staged a die-in at Pride, calling for a minute's silence for those murdered due to their sexual orientation. They were met with hostility and told to go back to your locations or townships. Meanwhile, Soweto Pride, founded in 2004, is a more politically driven event. It does not attract big sponsorships but garners strong support from diplomats and politicians. This year, speakers at its 20th anniversary reminded attendees of the continued violence against black lesbians. One government official noted, "Soweto Pride highlights the social ills rooted in our country. This sounds like a pride celebration Nkoli would have loved." As Joburg Pride approaches, it's clear it means different things to different people. While many will party in Sandton, others from poorer backgrounds will wonder if they can get home safely. A reminder that the fight for equality is far from over. And in education news, what's worse than a power cut on exam day? Trying to get to school through flooded streets. Only 2 days into matric final exams, 400 matric pupils in Gqeberha could not sit for their computer applications technology exam on Tuesday after a massive storm caused widespread flooding in the Eastern Cape. Around 300 pupils from the 5 Gqeberha schools were similarly affected, according to MEC Fundile Gade. The extreme weather conditions also damaged power lines, leaving large parts of the area without electricity. Talk about the ultimate technical difficulty. With roads turned into rivers, educational officials had to rope in the police to help transport exam papers safely. The Basic Education Department in Umalusi, the accreditation body, assured the public that there was no need for alarm, as contingency measures including backup exam papers had been implemented to ensure students would not be disadvantaged. So pupils will get another chance to write, just not while wading through ankle-deep water. According to Gqeberha, discussions are underway to find alternative exam venues, with churches and community halls being considered. The disruption is not just limited to schools. Local businesses have also been hard hit by the floods. The Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber reports that 81% of surveyed businesses across the metro were affected, with 35% dealing with direct flood damages to their facilities. Computers and employees alike are left high and dry or soaked and stranded. In the meantime, the best the students can do is try to stay calm and dry and maybe brush up on the other subjects while they wait for things to settle. After all, nothing says exam prep like being stuck indoors during a rainstorm. In entertainment news, guess who's packing his bags for the motherland? British actor and all-round heartthrob Idris Elba has revealed plans to make Africa his home within the next decade. The star, whose parents hail from Ghana and Sierra Leone, is on a mission to bolster the continent's film industry. In a chat with the BBC, the 52-year-old star of The Wire and Long Walk to Freedom shared his vision for moving to Africa to contribute to local filmmaking. He's got big plans, building film studios in Zanzibar and Accra, living in multiple locations because why not, and changing how the world sees Africa. The Hollywood star wants to shift the global perspective of Africa to showcase the richness of African culture, languages, and traditions. As he puts it, if you watch any film or anything that has got to do with Africa, all you're going to see is trauma, how we were slaves, how we were colonized, how it's just war, and when you come to Africa, you will realize that it's not true. He envisions making Africa's unique culture known globally, such as how people can differentiate between New York and Los Angeles without visiting. Elba's timing could not be better. The world is waking up to the power of African storytelling, with major players like Netflix investing heavily in African content. Beasts of No Nations, the Netflix hit in which Elba starred, was one of its first major global successes featuring African narratives. And now more productions are coming our way, with Netflix announcing a push to develop African talent through training and scholarships. With Nollywood already crushing it, Elba believes that there's even more potential to unlock across the continent. By living in Africa, he hopes to help build the infrastructure needed to bring more African stories to the global stage. And let's be honest, if Idris Elba is in charge, we're in for a blockbuster. Meanwhile, in some local governance news, can the city of Tshwane catch a break? The newly appointed MMC for Environmental Affairs and Agriculture, Obakeng Ramabudu, is against the Afrikaans rights organization Afriforum helping to deliver services to Tshwane residents. Last week, Ramabudu announced plans to cancel a 5-year Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, between Afriforum and the city. Signed in March under now ousted Mayor Cilliers Brink, the MOU focuses on waste removal, grass cutting, alien plant species removal, and community safety projects. EFF Tshwane Chief Whip Godwin Ratikwane added fuel to the fire, claiming Afriforum uses the MOU to undermine the state, and accused Afriforum of only servicing white communities and sustaining white privilege, adding that the EFF can't coexist with racist organizations. Afriforum CEO Kali Kriel countered, asserting that the MOU does not contain a cancellation clause and will continue improving communities with or without the EFF. Tshwane, already plagued by financial woes, worker strikes, and unstable leadership, recently saw Dr. Nasipa Moya become the metro's 4th mayor in 3 years. The city's residents, particularly in less affluent areas, continue to demand better services amongst the chaos. Ramabudu, no stranger to controversy, was accused of racism in July after exclaiming he wanted the blood of an Afrikaner during a council meeting. Ramabudu was reported to the South African Human Rights Commission for his comments and has since apologized, saying his remarks were hurtful and inappropriate. Back to the current fight, as the EFF pushes ahead with its attempts to cancel the MOU, one can only hope that, amidst the drama, Tshwane residents finally get the services they deserve. Finally, according to the latest Quality of Life survey by the Gauteng City Region Observatory, residents of Mzansi's richest province believe they are hungrier and poorer than before. Think of the survey as Gauteng's version of the happiness index run in other countries. Started in 2009 and running every second year, it's one of the longest running and second largest surveys in South Africa, with nearly 14,000 face-to-face interviews this year. The overall wellness score has declined to 60 in Gauteng, its lowest point since the survey started in 2009. It's worth noting this decline in perceptions aligns with global trends like the 2021 World Happiness Report. That report painted a grim picture showing how COVID-19 deaths, rising economic insecurity, and disruptions to daily life significantly impacted mental and physical health across the globe. Back to South Africa and Gauteng, here are some of the most concerning findings from this year's survey. A fifth of households reported increased food insecurity. Children had to skip meals during the 8-month survey period. Participants mentioned that finding jobs had become harder, and although some residents earn more, their salaries have not kept pace with rising food costs. Satisfaction with water access dropped from 86% in 2017 and 18 to 75% in the last release, and over a quarter of people reported experiencing psychological violence. But it was not all doom and gloom. Here are the positive shifts. Participatory and local governance engagement has increased by 6 percentage points from the previous survey to 57%. The percentage of Gauteng residents generating a portion of their own electricity increased significantly from 2017 and 18 to 15%. Half of the adults surveyed reported at least one member of their household received a social grant, meaning South Africa's incredible social net program is working. Younger people reported lower levels of physical and sexual abuse compared to older ones. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi acknowledged the government's failures, saying that residents would have more income if they had better service delivery. He said, "It's correct, we've abandoned what government should do. Now do something about it, Panyaza." Still, Gautengers still love their province despite the challenges. When asked whether they would migrate tomorrow if they could, 70% of Gauteng residents said that they would not. "We feel you guys, this is still the province of gold." Disclaimer, please note that our partner communications agency assisted with media training for the GCRO before releasing the survey. That's it from us at The Wrap, an award-winning product of Explain.coza. Simple news summaries for busy people. Remember to share the love, tell your friends to sign up at explain.coza/subscribe. Till next time, goodbye from the team.